Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Covered. I'm John. You got Matt. You also got Brian.
You just bring
Today,
Brian right in. It's
it's
just there's
not even an
no
introduction.
intro. It's just here he is.
I
I've
gotta
been
look.
here before.
I gotta look at my intros. I messed up the the top 10 or the countdown instead of the other one. Yeah,
Yeah.
internet.
We don't do this professionally, so
Yeah, this is all just purely for fun. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be on with you guys, hanging out. Looking forward to hearing about more about Megacon. It's been pretty crazy con. I think it's kind of this how well the con went this year is kind of given it that coveted third spot and top three cons in the country, in my opinion. And
yeah. I was watching your show. If anyone needs context, to go back to your Thursday show or your Thursday show where you guys talked with, was it Thursday or Friday, where you were talking with oh my god, the dude with the Mountain Dew hat. What's his name?
Jesse James.
Jesse James, thank you. Jesse James was on, and he was talking about how good the con was. And I would love to get your insights on that later in the show when we get into it. But like, I've also been following all the stuff that you've been covering on Diamond, and you've had a lot of like really interesting people on about the Diamond stuff.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, we're talking about that stuff internally. I mean, I don't think people. I mean, that might be a whole show. I mean, you guys have talked about it at length, but it's going to be a huge impact on this industry in a major way.
I found your show super informative on that. Like that was super. You had all the right people on talking about it and getting everyone's opinion. That was very informative. So thank you for that.
And again, it's like everyone should be watching. Like that's like you have all this stuff that causes drama. That's like that's getting tens of thousands of views. And then the one thing that's really applicable to every single person in this industry, whether you're a collector, a reader, a shop, whatever, like this is not small stuff. That's the thing.
I appreciate that. It's very interesting to me, for sure. And I talk about this a lot. When we all first started, and I know you guys will agree on this, when we all first started this and kind of we're getting our feet wet, we thought we knew what collecting comics was about. And then you learn it's totally different in the industry. It's a totally different ballgame.
I will say that event has got me more thinking about publishers and retailers and distribution. And, we have we have a tool for retailers that pulls in all the new releases in FOC so you can put it onto your website and sell them and stuff. With the Diamond stuff happening, all of our retailers are like, hey, what's happening? We're like, we don't know. We're watching it too. We're just trying to, kind of pivot.
And Brian, this is probably a show for another day because I feel like we could get into this too. But Swaggle House had Spears on his channel, and I was fascinated by that conversation because he was talking about like, you see all this traction I'm getting in the aftermarket, and it's not resulting in any new interest on the publisher side. And like, why are they not paying attention to the aftermarket? And it's such an interesting conversation because we have a lot of those answers because we walk in the middle of that path, and we talk to publishers. Literally, I talked to a publisher about that show, and their perspective was so wildly different from what was being presented on the show.
Here's the thing. It can be wildly different than what was being presented.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what my point of view on all this is. I have learned one thing that is so just evidently clear to me is that most of the big publishers in comics, they don't have their finger on the pulse of what collectors are really into right now. They just don't. They think it's something and it's not. It's totally different than what collectors really want. And for some reason they just don't. And I don't get it. I don't understand it.
This is a huge topic, and it will take the whole show, but it's such an important one. I think we should maybe this is our topic for next week.
Yeah, let's jump into it next week. Brian, are you around next week? You want to join?
Of course.
It would be. I mean, heck, it's a good show for your channel too. It's because I would love to hear. It would be nice to have the publisher and a retailer, on at the same time because it'd be nice to hear it directly from them. Of why they make the decision they do and why can't they, why are they kind of tone deaf to like, to like Marvel, like the art that's being produced on other publishers is like trumps whatever Marvel's doing in such a major way.
Yeah. Well, I think
and
this weekend also is, has showed a big topic, and that is variant comics. There is this thing that is bubbling in the world of variant comics and retailer exclusives and how big publishers are doing their variants. That is, I mean, I hear a lot of collectors talking about it, but the thing is, they still sell, and they sold out big time this weekend. I mean, what, like 490 variants?
Yeah, jump into it, John. Jump into it.
Yeah. Well, here, let me just show you guys real quick the how to get there so everyone knows. So when you go to Cover Price, you can either, once we do a list for any of the big conventions, which we pretty much do for all the big ones, you're going to find it probably in the carousel right here. But if you just go to CP content and then go to, you're going to see the buckets, conventions. And then here you'll start seeing like Megacon, we had New York Comic Con. So all the ones that we're creating these lists for or doing any type of content around, you'll start seeing. And then we get to the list, a little brief article about it, but just click this giant ass button to get into it, and it'll take you right to it. You'll see Dr. Manhattan for a split second, but that's when you know you got to the right spot. So this is where the Megacon thing lives. But yeah, Brian, you're saying, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see so many variants, and you're saying that that's kind of like more of the topic right now, right?
I mean, they sold out at Megacon. It was unbelievable how well dealers did and retailers did. I heard from a lot of retailers. Price point was a big thing that I heard from a lot of people this week, both retailers and collectors and buyers alike. There's this interesting thing where people are starting to feel different about the price point where they buy in at for these extra books, which most of these are. I mean, let's be honest. I think most people that buy these type of collectibles, they're not necessarily reading these issues. If they're reading, A covers or a different cover, or they're reading digitally. They're not cracking open these. They're collecting these, and so price point is a very interesting conversation, and everybody still did well. I mean, they really did, from what I'm hearing.
Wow. Well, I mean, like we talked about this last week, but you type in do Keanu, just for example.
Keanu.
And there, so we had obviously Tidal Wave came with their Fame and the Orbit covers, but like you just scroll down, just keep scrolling. Like the question is, how many do you need of one cover, right? And this is the dynamite question too, right? But when you look at this thing, like the print runs are what, 10, 5, 20. And you're like, why? How do these sell? It's like, because the print runs are non-existent, like literally. I mean, you can.
And you also think about, they're printing them themselves. So either they're working with somebody that has a printer, or they have a printer. Retailers are becoming very, very smart. Big shout out to Sean Udachko at Comics Elite, who figured out, hey, I'm gonna learn how to print my own books, and he keeps his price point down. He keeps a product at a certain number. And I don't know if he's still working a lot with Tidal Wave, but it's when you're working that way, it's very easy to be in that realm of the comics world. You have to figure out a way to keep that price point down. And I think a lot of these books that $20 buy-ins, that's the price point. I mean, there were other books that were $50 buy-ins, and I don't know how well those sold, but I know a lot of the ones that were in that $20 to $30 range sold very well.
So it's interesting. At New York Comic Con, I talked to Marat Michaels, and whether you love it, he's had a career with one book. It's the same guts, but he's reprinted the book. Do You Poo? He's reprinted it over and over, and it was talking to him about, like, he had a variant. He's like, we drew it. We did the cover yesterday, printed it that night, and had it ready for the con the next day. That's amazing. How fast they move as a publisher. Like if they want to publish their own books, it's literally amazing. Overnight.
153. Wow.
But this isn't even scratching the surface. Like, we have actually someone who wants to, like,
274.
I heard that there's about 500 total, like at least 500. We got to get the I don't know if you saw the one.
You got the Drew You Poo?
The Drew You Poo. That was pretty great.
Yeah.
It's literally Drew. I don't know if you watch any of Drew's videos, John, where he stands in front of his pool in the backyard and he does his slab unboxings, and he wears his LA Dodger hat and his jersey. And literally, they did a poo version of him standing in front of his actual pool with it. Like, that was pretty fun. I did enjoy that one for sure. Yeah,
it's just giving collectors what they want. That is the key in comic book retailing right now, is just giving the collectors the product they want to buy, you know. And
well, a lot of people say, like, who wants these, right? That's the question, is like, who's buying Do You Poo? What's the retail market for Do You Poo? Like, that's a lot of what, like, the outside perspective, that who's buying all these variants, right?
Well, look at this. I didn't even know that this one is actually going raw for $885.
Yes.
There are some that are very hard to find, that are very low ratio, that are just also really well done covers. You know, I remember there was a Mega Man one for this that I wanted. And it was funny. I asked someone to pick it up for me because I wasn't at the con, and they're like, "Oh, I got him." I was like, "Great. How much do I owe you?" He's like, "Oh, I thought you were just telling me that I should pick them up for myself." And I was like, "One of them." Anyhow.
So, do you think that's the trend? If publishers are going to print their own stuff now that Diamond's gone, is that people are going to just move to these kind of?
I don't know if they're going to print their own stuff, but they're going to find printers that are cheaper, and they're going to be forced to. You know, a lot of the tariff talk and stuff is forced a lot of publishers to start looking at different avenues for printing, just in case something happens in the future. And you know, they're looking at other publishers here, and it's going to cost them 10% more than it would usually, but it's better than the 25% or whatever it ends up being, that the tariffs are going to happen. So that's one thing to throw in there. But the other thing to throw in there is, I think that with the Diamond fall, what is evident is that you're having to figure out ways to bring everything in, tighten the purse strings, figure out different ways of doing things. You don't need to have these big warehouses or these volume books. You can figure out ways to sell books at a bigger price point, lower print run, you know, do online stores rather than brick and mortar, crowdfunding. I think that is a big wave in the next 2 years in the comic world. But it could change come April. We'll see.
What's interesting about variants, Brian, as you know, I have a rule of 50 of never buying below 50, because a print run of 50, because in terms of resale value, it's really hard. It's hard if a book is so rare, it's impossible to set a market price for it. So if you go to sell it, it could be worth $500 to you, but $20 to someone that would buy it on eBay. That's not the market we're in. I don't know if this market cares about resale value. Now, there's 490 variants, right? Not all of them. John, if we want to show that list and sort it by price, we could dig into that a little bit. Not all of them are going to be worth X amount over what the purchase price is. And there are a lot of people, that's the whole point of like going to these cons. To pay for the cons, you buy the right books, you flip them, it pays for your cost of hotel, your flight. Hopefully you can break even, maybe even win a little bit at these cons.
Yes.
And for those of you who are just watching and playing along at home, you can, if any of our lists, you can go to a filter and then actually filter by the raw highest value, slabbed highest value based on actual sales data. So it's a great way to see kind of what's trending on the list in the market itself.
And if you want to turn things off, like you're like, there's too many title weighted books, I don't want to see them, you can turn off publishers, on and off. You can go. So if there's things you're like, okay, I don't need to see. Well, maybe not on this list. Okay, we'll have to add that. So, all right, it's not it.
But you can also search by whatever you want and just type it in and see it.
Maybe it was in there. It said all. Maybe it just didn't populate.
No. Oh yeah, there it is. Sorry, it isn't there.
Yeah. It was just a big list. So
yeah,
you could turn them off if you needed to. Some of them.
So it's very interesting to see the Andrew K. Curry at the top. Shout out to Drew at Wanted Comics with these gilded. Limited to 100. What is it, limited to 100 or maybe even less? Yeah. These gilded variants.
Yeah, this one's 50.
50. Yeah, so that's great. And then of course Mark Spears right next to it.
So there has been a lot of what's interesting about this one. So this was Ryder, right?
Yeah, Davis Ryder. Yep.
Davis Ryder. So there has been this is for like future lists, and I would love to know what you guys think, is that people don't think we should include books that are not available at the convention. Meaning this was a book you had to go to the Whatnot app for. Even though it was maybe considered a Megacon book, is it worth having on the list? Because the buy-in for this book, I guarantee you, was not $20, right?
No.
Like the buy-in was probably $100. There probably was no buy-in. The buy-in was what they were selling for or Whatnot, right?
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. I don't know that, but
I don't know either.
Davis Ryder, I kind of brought this up in the Drama Alert segment on Saturday, not because of Davis or the Mark Spears cover or anything, but because there was somebody that they had 10 foils of this book also that they had put up. And somebody had bought, or they had sold 3 of them for over $1,000 a piece. We heard, as a matter of fact, Mark.
I heard that it was an incorrect purchase, right?
Yeah, and he was very happy and excited to hear that. He's like, "Oh my God, did you hear this?" And then we find out that it was a guy who really didn't know how to use Whatnot. He bid himself up. Now I don't know how true that is. Davis was nice enough to reach out to me and said he would let me know. And I said, "Yeah, give me a call." I haven't heard from him yet, but I'm always interested to hear exactly what happened. But that's a great point. I got to be honest. A part of me feels like saying, if it's not a book that's not available in the con,
on the convention floor,
it should
we've
be
had a lot of talks. What's that, section?
It shouldn't be a Megacon variant if it's not allowed in the store, in my opinion.
Well, the whole point of this list is we include the booth locations and the cost that it would cost you at the convention. It's meant to be a shopping list and help you navigate the convention floor. If one of them is you got to go to an app to buy a book, unless it's available for pickup at the convention, like it's just a way to order it through the convention, as long as it has a physical presence of some sort at the con, I think we've been leaning that way to like not include. They'll be in our system, of course, 100%, but to include them in this grand list is one of the stuff.
Yeah, because that's
people listening. If you can comment, people listening, what do you want? Do you want the list to include only Megacon or beyond Megacon or beyond convention books for the lists? And then we can get their feedback.
Amen.
But what were you saying? I'm sorry, I cut you off, Ryan.
I was just going to say that, I can't remember what I was saying. That I agree with you guys. But they use, I remember now. A lot of people use this list specifically for what you guys, put it out there for. They're on the con floor. They put this in their favorites and they use this to scout the floor. What do they want to pick up? Because it's hard to find out what is available there just by walking around. You miss so much. You don't know what's available.
Rudy said earlier, how do you know what to buy? The nice thing about this list is if you have, and I know we're tooting our own horn here, but the nice thing about it is if you have a list like this, you review it the day before, and we update it through the whole weekend. You could just go through it once in the morning, once in the evening, see what's added, right? And you see where it's located and how much it costs. You create a budget. You're like, I want this book. Oh, but not at that price. Oh, not at that print run. You can make decisions now instead of having to run around and make those decisions once you get to the booth and then have to run around and go to the next booth. There's books on here, like there was this gorgeous Suspiria cover that I wanted to I fly out to Orlando just to buy,
beautiful.
And I don't even think it's sold out because I don't think people knew about it, other than maybe checking out this list. What budget do you speak of, Jade?
What I like doing is if you add it to your wish list and then go to your wish list, you can literally type in here like C2E2 and then get all the list, all the comics from that list that are tagged already. Maybe not. It has to be in the title.
Megacon, I think, is what you're looking for. But
yeah, my bad.
You're a little ahead of yourself.
I know my head's on C2E2.
But we are planning on somehow building a little way to put in a box or do something with it so that it's a little more accessible.
Yeah. Jump back to our list. Yeah,
that's the whole way. For me, when I just there's covers that you can see I don't need any of those. You can skip through them pretty quickly, and then you could just be like, oh my god, I have to get this cover. Is that everyone talking about it? Who knows? And maybe some people are aware of it, some are not. But at least And we would also, in the past, we would also add in all the panel giveaways. For me, that's like literally all you have to do is go to these panels and collect your free $100 books.
Yes.
You can
The
literally
problem
spend
is-
$0.
Yeah.
Problem with that is you spend a lot of time waiting in line at panels,
Yes,
which
you do.
There's a give and take.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's true. But then you
But
make
if you like spending $0 and collecting, if you're really cheap,
Yes.
the issue is I don't sell anything, so I just waste my time in panel lines, and then I don't do anything with it. I'm like, I got it. That's cool.
Hey, welcome to the game, my friend.
Yeah.
Although some panels you're like surprised, like we went to the Marvel one at New York Comic Con, and it turned out to be a secret like Daredevil Born Again panel, and the cast came out, and Frank Miller came out, and it was pretty cool.
It's really neat. Yeah. You guys are doing the Lord's work.
So if you sort by the highest, I want to see like what those top ones were again. And then we'll jump into our some of the other stuff we want to talk about. I know we're running out of time already. Jesus. Because I wanted to talk about Fantastic Four. I wanted to talk about our top 10, which is a part of this conversation. Trinity kills it at like every convention. If you scroll down, they brought a bunch of pretty great stuff. The Stan Lee was a surprise. If you keep scrolling down.
Yes, I like that one. The one that's the homage to the Foom cover and the Impel card.
Yeah, and what was that? Was that Tidal Wave? Yeah. See, again, like you can easily ignore the Tidal Wave stuff, and then you're like, oh, but I love that cover. And like you're talking about like who's buying the Kano stuff. Kano fans, right? Kano fans are gonna want that book. Like I'm sure. What's One True Nerd's buddy?
Phil. Theo.
Theo. Yeah, right. He's got to have some of those Kyoto books.
Yeah.
But I love. Yeah, it's a fantastic cover, and I do like the foil version of it. Like sometimes you're like, I don't need the foil version of this.
Yes, I agree.
I'm not a huge Momoko fan, but I really enjoyed her Magic cover for this convention.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The Brett Booth was very interesting.
Perfect. It's such a great cover. Well done. That's like that is typical of her early stuff. I know there's a bunch of Spawn fans. So what was interesting about this was that it was like hotcakes out the door, and a 1,500 print run. there's a lot of those out there, and everyone threw them online at the same time. So it brought down the value to about $100, which is not like any. How much did it cost?
$40.
That's nice.
Right.
Double up your money.
Cry over $60 profit.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was no fights, although there weren't any fights apparently in New York Comic Con.
I was gonna ask, was there any drama from Megacon? I didn't hear anything.
I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. It sounded like for the most part everything went well, which is great to hear. That's always a really good thing. Yeah. So other than just the amount of variance, but for the most part, I haven't really heard anything.
Yeah, keep going. That's pretty cool.
I hear someone got stabbed. No, I'm just trying to make some drama.
I really like the Batman, the red Absolute Batman.
It was the Lee Garbett. Yeah, the Lee Garbett. Yes. He did it as a fan cover, and they're like, let's make this a real cover.
Yeah.
But scroll down, John. Before don't keep going.
Sorry. Too late. Absolute. You wanted the Absolute Batman?
Yeah, the red one. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, let me put in Batman.
And that Fangers or that Suspiria one was the other one to me that was just gorgeous. Other than the Del Autos, I mean, the Del Autos were beautiful. That's gorgeous. Look how good that looks with the city and the Batman symbol. And
yeah, that is cool.
And what's funny about this is our mock-up cover. So we have to actually add the real cover. We did that cover. Another company took that cover and used it on their site too.
Copying is the sign of flattery or whatever.
That's right. This is how we know. Like they're using this list. Yeah. But if you go back to that main list again, there was that you find. Here's the thing about what we're talking about is you find books that find meaning to you, which is what people are doing with these books. Clearly, you can't buy all 490 books of these. 490 copies of this. I can't even talk right now. If you scroll down a little bit more, then just keep going.
There's the Della.
That's a, I'm sorry, I didn't know Momoka did a Ventrilla. That's cool.
What hasn't Momoka?
Yeah,
Crane keeps doing these Looney Tune covers for every convention. I don't understand the connection, but they do well.
Yeah, especially this one, the Tweety Bird, right?
He must be like a huge fan of this stuff.
Yeah, he's got 5 of them already, I think. Right?
That's a great cover, though. Like, really well done.
It is. It's a good one.
And keep doing a little bit more, Joe. I was trying to find. There you go. So that War of the Independence. If you look at that image right there. So what's cool about this book? So there was, I forget the story. We wrote about this a few years ago, so I'm not pulling it all together. I forget who the creators were, but a lot of the creators of this independent got the right from all these indie creators like Scud and Max and Usagi and Madman and Bone and the Tick. He put them all into one book in this epic adventure. And Faust right there, Cerebus. And
wasn't Spawn too?
I think there's Grendel too. I don't know if Spawn was in it, but they got probably not. I don't think McFarlane would have gave the okay.
The original, I think, it was in, but I could be wrong.
But that independent book was like would never happen today. He literally got the okay to do like this 2-issue mega crossover event with all these characters, and so they did a reprint of that book, and that was one that I would have itched to like go find at the convention. And it's a perfect example of you can just find the exact covers that you want to buy. You set your budget as JD says. What's the budget? But I mean, you have to go to these conventions with money, an exact amount that you're willing to spend, right? And then you call it a day. And that's a conversation that Swagle's House had before, like why do keys feel like they're going down? This is why, because people are buying. They're just going in there with $500 for $300, and they're buying all the books exclusives that they want, and they're leaving the convention happy. And maybe some of them went up, but they're not spending $300 on a low grade key, you know.
Yes.
I mean this is a trend. I mean, you can see by these numbers. People would not be printing these many covers if they weren't doing decently or well.
I always kind of saw it as a cash grab, but I mean, you know what I mean? Because I mean, when you think about the print runs and stuff, where like if they have 200 or I don't know 500 books, selling them for 30, a quick $1,500 or whatever or more. You know what I mean? Like I always thought it was that, but these keep
buying cash grab, right? Like everything can be considered a cash grab these days. Like, but the thing is, it's like they know what people want. They know that they're buying these covers, and yes, there are. You can say, okay, like the Akira Batman cover has been reprinted like 4 times, right? Like. Right. And yeah, it does devalue that first book, but people keep buying them. So there's like, why would you stop?
It doesn't make sense to the collector, but when there's money involved, I think that they, that kind of changes things. So,
yeah, it's hard to say no to like easy $10,000, right?
Yep,
$15,000. It's
super hard, especially if you're a small publisher and or a writer. Of course you're going to do it. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's like a cash grab in a bad way. I just think it's like when I think of just from the business side of it, like this is a great way for these people to make their money for the year in a lot of ways, and then they can keep writing stories and.
I mean, look at this list. How many artists are in like getting work? From this, it's pretty amazing. I mean, so I guess they're still getting paid on all those various covers.
That surprised me, and so did the Pokemon one. The Pokemon was very surprisingly good. So I think Tidal Wave comes out of this con a winner with. They had a couple really good hits that I did not expect for them to have.
Yeah, agreed. Like when I saw that one, of all the other Disney ones, this one definitely stood out.
Yes.
I mean, this is the fun part of having fun with other licenses. You get a high profile artist doing Mickey or whatever.
Yeah,
they're gonna do well.
Natalie Sanders is killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, she has just been. I mean, her KRS Comics Harley that they did a little while ago was just gorgeous with all the balloons in the background. I don't know if you remember that one, but she's done really good with her Harley books, Harley covers.
She gets better and better. Like Chris knows I was always hard on her, because like she would have these very polished faces, and I was like, it's too photorealistic. It doesn't match the rest of the body. Like, you know, that she, like, her earlier stuff wasn't like that, and now she's like, now it's all blending together. It's matching, and it looks good. Yeah. So, I mean, she's definitely someone that just keeps working on her craft, and she just gets better and better and better. Like, look at the detail in the background. No one does a good background anymore.
Yeah,
the Bob too.
It's so easy to do a lazy background.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something Killing the Children was kind of like a dud this week. This con, right? They had a bunch of books.
Well, they had a similar cover to this at New York Comic Con, so it didn't feel like that stood out. But this feels repetitive.
There was only one that was really good to me. It felt like of the Something Is a Killing. I mean, like you said, this is good, but they've already kind of done it. So
right.
We'll find it. We'll find it. That's a fun one.
Yeah, but like some of these, like there's some characters like Turtle Books, Venom. There's some stuff, despite how good the covers are, they become white noise because there's just so many of it, and that is the problem with having too many variants. So you kind of like Vampirilla. How many Vampirilla covers are, like, every artist has done a Vampirilla cover.
She's another clear winner at the con, Carla.
Her booth was popping. Like all the photos that I saw of like long lines, it was her and Perillo.
Yes.
Oh, I can see why.
Yep.
It's already going up. Those 35 buy-in selling for about 55.
And that Harley book she did was fantastic.
Anywho. So that was KRS did that one before.
Yeah. That one's good.
Yeah.
John.
There's a match to this with Snake Eyes. That was New York Comic Con.
I like his choice to put him on a white background. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's really cool.
But not so negative.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But I mean, he's a ninja, so he's supposed to. Have you guys? Sorry, it's total random. There's this one clip. It's supposedly like this town that has an annual ninja convention, and everyone lines up, and then they go, this year again, nobody saw a ninja. You know, everyone's waiting, the kids are waiting, but all of a sudden candy appears for the kids, and they have this one clip where there's a little fuzzy thing in the background. Back in 2007, we caught a glimpse of a ninja.
It's like a leg. Yeah.
So well done. Yeah. Annual ninja convention. Anyway, so that's what this is. He's a ninja. He's supposed to blend in.
So I think that kind of taps out our Megacon. And Brian, you did a great job on your show going through. I watched it, and you went through the whole list, and I was like, wow.
Your guys' list is killer, man. I'm telling you, I love your guys' site. It is the best comic book site on the internet, bar none, for not only information on secondary sales, but also, finding books to add to your collection. I use your guys' list for everything now. I use it for our cover of the year stuff, to keep track of cover of the year covers, creating, lists and virtual boxes and everything. And
we'll get you FOC soon. We're working on FOC to bring it to the front page.
Thanks, Brian. That's really nice to hear. We're excited because it took us now 8 months or so. We've been working on rebuilding the database. Once that's done, it's going to completely free all of our data so that you're going to be able to create lists about random stuff for comics. Jeff the Shark covers versus, all the creators, every book this one creator ever made. That's literally a couple months away. So we're pretty close to having more accessibility.
So, a little bit about JT, don't go for everything. It's impossible to do collect everything in this market. It's literally impossible. you'll like go broke trying. And then at the same time, it's like I just say, like, you go for a cover that you have to have, right? And you just focus on those, and you'll be pretty happy. And that's the book we're giving away tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, look at that one.
Yeah, that's a nice time.
Oh, gorgeous, man. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I just sold the original X-Men cover of that in my live sale last week. Yeah, I love that Silvestri era X-Men. Silvestri is one of my favorite X-Men artists. His run, the Sinister run that he had, of course, with Goblin Queen, that whole storyline is just, up there in the top like 5 X-Men storylines to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
John, do you want to jump to the main page, and we'll just do a little spotlight, just roll over the top 10. We'll go into the top 10 on our show tomorrow a little bit, and of course in more detail. But I always like to do a top level takeaway of what, like, look at this top 10. You have it's trending because of the Fantastic Four trailer, because of the Captain America film coming out. There was news of Hasbro. They just announced that they're going to do a smorgasbord of magic content and product. You have con books moving. You got Spears content, con books on there. That animated Spider-Man prequel book was a surprise. Like, people were hating the show, but the book is now selling for $20. Like, it's odd. And then you have this Kill Lock that was option. You have cover buys with the Venom book. It just stands out. If you pull it up, it's a nice gatefold cover.
Killer wraparound.
I gotta see it.
That's a perfect noise. Like, Venom books are white noise to me, and that stood out. Like, and that
feels like an homage to a cover that he has done before. I want to say in like Superior.
It's Daredevil. It's Daredevil. Remember there's like it almost looked like Carnage, or maybe it was Carnage.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Blanking on the issue number, but I do think it is a homage to that.
Really good.
Cool. That is cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it. I wonder.
It's very interesting too. The Herbie first appearance, which for the longest time, that was a little bit of a spec play. You could find those for so cheap back in the day, and people were just, and same with all the Galactus Fantastic Four stuff. Not even the early stuff. It's nice to see that in the runners up. And
I mean, that book's not cheap, and it sold like 35 copies or something like that in just the last 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have first Buffy on there because they're getting a new TV show. The number 11 was the most interesting. That one's moving because of the news of just what's happening in our society.
Wow.
Because that book is about how America tries to invade Canada in the dystopian future. And that book started taking off because people are like, "Oh yeah, I've read that." Like that.
It seems like a rough spec to do political stuff.
What surprises me the most, and let me tell you, it doesn't surprise me that it's hot. It surprised me that we don't hear more people, yet alone Marvel retailers, trying to make a play on Rivals stuff. Like, I've talked about this on my show. If I had an in with somebody at Marvel, I would be saying to them, "Hey, I want to do reprints of all the first appearances of all the skins. I want the first Malice appearance. I want the first, and I want to do reprints of them. And I want, to get the artists that are working on the game, or, that I would be playing that route, because I watch an hour of gameplay a night, easy, if not more."
Yeah,
that is awesome.
They're like, but can we make it a 1 in 25 second print version, and then also make it a 1 in 100 version, but a different color?
I hate that. I hate it.
Yeah. Marvel is especially tone deaf right now, despite how much some of their stuff is moving in the aftermarket.
Problem is DC is copying them, though. You see, DC just started that. And it's like, what are you?
So, looking at this list, what do you guys think of some specs, some ideas of Fantastic Four? We can talk about.
I got a funny story about this. I got a really funny story about Fantastic Four.
Yeah. All right, let's hear it.
I'm the Thing from Fantastic Four.
I got catfished. I thought I was watching the trailer and it was a fake trailer. And so everybody's saying, "Oh, Silver Surfer wasn't in the trailer." I'm going, "Yes, she was. She was at the end." And Stein is live on the air going, "Yeah, I saw it too," because he saw the same one, thinking it was the real one, and we watched it was fake. And
my God!
So when
I
watched,
so excited about this movie.
When I watched the fake one, I was like, there was something off with their faces. Like, it looked like the CG wasn't right. It was because it was, fake and stuff. And so I watched the real one, and I actually liked it. It looks interesting, and I hope it's good for Marvel's sake.
There was a lot of things, like, I don't want to get into what I like and dislike about it, because I'm like, in this world, do you know how lucky we are to get like all these like superhero films? And like, yeah, okay, Pedro Pascal's not my first choice for Mr. Fantastic, sure. Like, but then I was like, how? I literally Googled it. The first search was, how tall is the Thing? Because I'm like, I always thought he was Hulk size, and I look back, he's only 6'1". He's shorter than Reed Richards in the comic books. At least that's how he was for about 50 years, until I think in the 2000s they made him like 6'8" or something like that, 6'9".
Oh, yeah.
So they made him bigger, but he originally was just 6'1". So that was surprising. You learned something you didn't know, right?
Yeah. I'm a big like sound person. Like when the Transformers transform, right, or whatever. When Thing in this trailer puts his fingers in his mouth and you hear the rocks kind of touch, like that almost ceramic sound, I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And like it just adds that additional layer of like realness that you never think about from the comic books. He's a rock. Yeah. He's a rock.
I'm right there with you, John. Foley artists are some of the most underrated jobs in Hollywood. Those guys.
Yeah. I needed one thing though in this trailer.
Flame on!
Flame on! Yeah.
I just needed that.
Flame on!
Yeah.
I that was the only thing I was waiting for, and it drove me nuts that they kept it silent. I was like, I need a little bit more.
I like what they're doing with the Invisible Woman's power too, like bending light so it's almost like a prism rather than just invisible. I mean, what can you do with just invisible? But to actually see like a little rainbow shimmer and all that kind of stuff, I thought that was really. Yeah. You make a good point, Matt. Like we are living.
So that's some nerd shit. I'm out. What was the everything's nerd
shit? Yeah, but Matt, to your point, like we are living in an amazing time where we get to see our heroes and villains and stuff portrayed like with justice, like it's back when we were kids, it was so lame and so cheesy, and now it's like it's amazing.
Wait, hold on.
Lando.
I have been sung.
We got Lando joining.
Hey, Lando, how you doing, guys? Man?
Sorry, I'm catching you only at the tail end of the show, but I was tuning in here and there, putting the kids.
We saw you in there,
brother. Yeah. What's going on? Yo, Brian, nice to see you, bro.
Yeah, we're just winding down the show. It was we were just talking about the trailer, and I mean we also had a new trailer for Thunderbolts, which was actually, I mean, it's high on comedy.
Really good.
Which I get a little nervous of comedy. I get a little bit of Thor 4 of Ragnarok.
No. Not Ragnarok style. Ragnarok was way too much nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But Thunderbolts, I think it's going to surprise everybody this year. I think it's going to be the movie that nobody really even anticipated to blow their minds. And that's what's going to happen. Especially with Sentry the Void. Oh, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, it looked good.
They definitely showed. They didn't show the Sentry, but they definitely showed a lot of Void killing people.
You got a glimpse of Sentry's arm, and you could see it's yellow. You saw just a glimpse of it. People froze that frame and they caught it.
It looks amazing. Like these are just those buddy kind of things. So it's a Guardian of the Galaxy effect where you have like the team that's all kind of funny. They all got their own little thing, and it always comes down to like how do they make a team interact, without giving one person the lead, like they did in X-Men in was that 2000? Yeah, Hugh Jackman character was like the main person, and then they just had the X-Men as supplementary. But when you see like Guardians, you see like, what James Gunn approach to actually every single character felt like it had weight and had like a backstory and had good quips and stuff. The trailer really makes them all look amazing. I don't know about Taskmaster. I didn't hear anything about Taskmaster.
No,
But-
that nobody cares about Taskmaster in the MCU.
Yeah.
Nobody. I think Ghost doesn't even make it out of this. Something's gonna happen on that aspect because, again, another character that even in the trailers does not feel at the forefront. Like you feel like, you know, you have the U.S. agent at the forefront. You got Bucky. You've got Yelena. You've got Red Guardian. The rest kind of feel just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope they can kill off Sentry, though. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, save him for other, like, that's something that MCU and DC, you know, EU or whatever they're calling it, that they need to learn is that you don't have to kill off villains. You can beat them and they got to go, you know, heal and lick their wounds, and then, you know, they're gone for a while and that way they can come back. That's why villains in comics are cool, you know?
Yeah. Like when they killed off Ultron, I mean, obviously he could have copied himself someplace. He can come back. But I was kind of like, oh, that was like years and years of more content. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanos shouldn't have been killed. There's no reason to kill Thanos, you know?
I don't think they're going to do that to Sentry just because, like, you know how like the villain has to have that like heart where all of a sudden you want to kind of root for him. You can see their point of view. That's the huge trend, right? Which is fantastic. Yes. Then it's not just like good versus evil. And I think the Sentry's a perfect character for that because he's 100%. An innocent person who's kind of not. He knows he has that darkness in him, and all of a sudden it's like, it's probably going to be on an island crying at the end, you know.
The one thing that, and then we have, we have Captain America this weekend, which is like they've confirmed that, you know, they are introducing adamantium. So it's like, again, we're just one more step to having the only thing we really want right now, which is. Everyone just wants X-Men, right? Just give us freaking X-Men.
We want X-Men
done right. Talk about adamantium. I want now. Show me Wolverine. Like, you know, give me Wolverine.
I'm so excited for X-Men to be in the MCU and not like through Sony or through like I want.
Granted, we did have Wolverine. I realized that as I said that we just had him this summer, and I want more.
I think he'll be in this. Somebody's going to be in this for a second. I bet you that they put somebody in him for like a mutant in there for a little bit.
There was rumors a while back with Omega Red making some kind of appearance.
Literally in Phase 4, he was like rumored for like 6 different projects.
Right.
Yeah.
So many.
I hear Mephisto's going to make an appearance in this one.
No. That's Ironheart now. That's where everybody.
You know why though that he was rumored? Because he was in a prison scene. I forget what film it was. I think I want to say it was Black Widow. I can't remember which one. Yes. So they actually shot a scene with him in it in his Omega Red look, and they removed it. So there were all these like leaks of him on set walking around in his Omega Red. So like that just spurred. Then when he wasn't in one thing, everyone just kept shifting it to the next film, the next TV show. Even though it was on the cutting room floor like ages ago, you know. But that stuff perpetuates.
I hear Taylor Swift's playing Omega Red.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
Not after she got booed last night. She got booed.
Oh no! I hear you. By the way, everyone who's listening, enter the giveaway. We're giving away this Megacon foil exclusive. And do a hashtag foil in the comments and you'll be entered, and you have some pretty good chances. We have a good amount of people, actually 58 people watching, but not all of them enter. It's always less. I don't know why.
It's too shiny and they just can't handle it.
Yeah,
so it's a little scary. It's a little scary. So
it keeps me up at night sometimes. If I woke up and I saw that, I'd probably stay up all night and freak out. So I got you.
But yeah, I'm excited about hopefully the next wave of content. We're going in again into a whole barrage of comic content, and I know it's going to be fun to pick them apart and say you hate something or love something, or something's too woke or not woke, or it's not your version of that character. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and that's the thing is like I still go into these. As much as I didn't like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I still enjoyed sitting there watching the film. Even though I came out, I was like, I didn't like it. I still had a great time watching it. You know, that's the thing. It's like it's kind of one of those. Would I watch? You know, and even then, I kind of like still watched part of it here and there. So there's like some of the stuff I'm just excited to have something to go into the theater to sit down and get excited about,
But Matt,
yeah.
one thing I'm happy about, like all jokes aside, is they're finally gonna address Tiamat being frozen into the earth, right? Now, clearly Tiamat is gonna be what everybody's going to war over because he's gonna be made out of adamantium, which I think happened after Cersei did her thing. Remember when she froze him completely? So that probably turned him to adamantium. Now, if that's the case, guys, him being frozen in the earth, if you remember the Avengers Jason Aaron run, that became the Avengers headquarters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So who knows?
It seems like too much adamantium in that universe. If he's a giant celestial,
you have to guard it somehow,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Also, it looked like in the trailer, maybe you guys already know this, but it looked like Falcon's Captain America suit had vibranium in it because there was all this purple like energy blasts coming off of him. Whenever he got punched by Hulk, it was absorbing the punches, and then he kind of did a blast like Black Panther does.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. It looked good. Who was the other? There's another guy flying with him. Was that like?
That's the new Falcon.
Yeah.
Torres.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, it was in Captain America. Whatever that series was. Yeah. Like what? 8 years ago? 7 years ago?
Yep.
I'm excited for Captain America. I'm excited for Daredevil.
Yes.
Really excited for Daredevil. Yeah, I think that's going to be the one that is going to be the best out of everything that they're doing.
You heard they reshot a lot of it, right? Like,
yeah,
I guess they shot it and it was too slow and boring.
Oh no!
And so they went back and they redid like most of it, and picked it back up.
I'll say when I saw, and I said this before, but when I saw Daredevil's fighting style in She-Hulk on the TV show, right? That was how I thought Daredevil fought. In his actual show, where he's just kind of brawling with people, whatever. But in She-Hulk, he's using all of his senses. He's doing all ninja stuff. He's coming through that hallway and doing cool. His billy clubs are like bouncing off the walls and hitting people and coming back to him. That was like my Daredevil. So I hope they bring that.
I want faces in the rain. Faces in the rain again. Bring me back faces in the rain.
No Ben Affleck fuck stuff, please.
Yeah.
How many movies was Ben Affleck in that were? It was just Daredevil.
Just
and
one.
It was just that one movie.
He made a quick appearance in Elektra, I think, like in a flashback scene or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you watched that movie. Good for you.
Look, I'm a Jen Garner fan, so I will. There's a reason just to watch that, and it's just Jen Garner.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for Fantastic Four, man. I think the movie being in the 60s. You heard Doctor Strange say, "Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?" I really think they end up in an alternate universe where they settled. Maybe Sue convinced Reed to like, "Hey, let's settle down here. Look, we're celebrities, whatever." And I really think Shalla is going to tip off Galactus that Reed is working on getting back into a universe.
Well, they showed him on the board that was next to him.
Exactly. But
wormhole. Yeah.
Shalla tipping off Galactus. There's a reason why he's in New York. He didn't just devour the world, right?
I mean, it's going to be great.
Galactus wants to try and figure out how to use the multiverse to feed himself.
Exactly. So I think... Look, my theory is that Shalla bites the bullet. She's going to be a one-off. Probably she's going to have guilt for bringing in Galactus, right? But yeah, man, I think this is going to explain why they stayed out of the main timeline. They're probably from the main timeline, ended up there. Reed working on a way to come back. Sue said, no, like we settled. We have Franklin. We're good to stay, right? Yeah. So... I don't know, man. I have so many theories. I'm just pumped, guys. It's a good year. Superman coming. It is
good. It is good.
We need to. I want Lando to do a board of all his theories, and then we'll have
Dude, I look like that guy there. What's the show? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Charlie.
This sounds very nerdy. Is this a nerd thing? It's definitely a nerd. I don't do nerd.
No. It's not nerdy. It's not.
Matt, you had it. I knew you had it.
I need to get the grid one. I need to get the crazy one. That's a good clip.
All right. Well, let's do this thing. So there's only 33 people out of 60 people who are watching. If you haven't already, type in #foil into the comment and you will be entered to win this amazing and awesome Witchblade number 7 foil. I think it's 7, right? Number 7 foil?
Yes.
Homage? All right.
Yep.
So I'll give you a couple more seconds and we're going to run this. And I guess that's enough seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
I love the drum roll. Thank you, John.
You know, it's
Watch Lando, you're gonna win.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not in there.
Hey, Joseph! Congratulations. Reach out to me or Matt, John at CoverPrice or Matt at coverprice.com. Give us your shipping address and we will ship this out to you. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, dude.
Score. Great
All
book.
right. So
I
final
mean-
words for everybody?
I feel like I could keep talking. There's so much that I want to keep talking about because there's so much going on right now. We have like again, we were looking at the top 10. There's not one thing driving that top 10. It's like it's literally a gambit of there's no gambit though. There's a gambit of books trending for a whole bunch of reasons, political reasons, content reasons, cover buys, convention buys. We're in a very I'll have to say we've never been in a market like this before, ever.
No.
Where everything is going for every reason possible, except all those big keys that keep falling in price. Those are because, but I keep telling people about that. Like, you know, that's a 1%er now. Those are those people. Those are out of our price ranges. We can't afford those blue chip books anymore. And if you do, you're wealthy. Congrats. But like, I mean, we can talk about this. I would love to get into it next week, and we'll talk about the publisher versus retailer. And it'd be nice to get people on both sides and have
Brian and Lando, if you guys are free next week, want to join?
And Brian, this almost seems like a show for you too. Like, you know, maybe the discussion might be bigger than an hour. You know.
Yeah.
So anywho,
let's figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, let's wrap it up. Lando, good to see you. Brian,
Likewise.
Super good to see you. Thank you guys so much for joining. Mr. DeVoe, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Everyone who's watching, thanks. Hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Hope you guys go see all these movies and we all share more. Matt looks like he's going to say something else now.
Come to the top 10 and you can see Lando tomorrow night too.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you can't get enough Lando, and who can, tomorrow night as well for the top 10 show.
And then Brian, you're on tomorrow night as well.
Tuesday night, yep. Tomorrow night we got the industry show. We're going to be talking Megacon with retailers, and also, you know, the dominoes keep falling over this diamond thing, and stores are having problems left and right. So we're going to be talking with a couple of retailers about those, and you never know how those shows turn out, man. It's very interesting. So tomorrow night,
we highly recommend you guys go back and find Beyond Wednesdays. Watch some. I would say one of the most recent Diamond shows was actually covered a lot of interesting things of how it's going to affect the industry.
Yeah, you guys killed it. That was such a good coverage of it.
Yeah. It was
all right, guys. Well, keep those comics covered, and thanks for watching.
Yeah.